Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. If you are a regular, I thank you so much. This is my next edition of, we do our Think Tank Thursdays. Gonna keep this one pretty short, you all, even though there's so much going on. I am really interested to see, it's really looking like we are headed for a government shutdown. McCarthy is spinning, like he is really spinning out of control. So I want to go to spirit for us today and really get our heads around, what are we headed for an actual government shutdown? And is this going to spell truly the end of Kevin McCarthy as speaker? Like, is this maybe even some machinations to deliberately get rid of him? Unfortunately, at the cost of the American people. I do want to back up for a moment before all of this has happened, and as the week has gone on. I think it was over the weekend or the tail end of last week when the news broke about Lauren Boebert, in Colorado. Here she is getting kicked out of the theater, went to go see Beetlejuice and got kicked out of the theater for acting a fool with this guy. Turns out her date was a Democrat, no less. And so many of you have probably seen the videos. First of all, don't you think that in any public space these days you are being taped, like whether you see the cameras or not? So I'm like, what were you even really thinking? Secondly, what was in that vape? I know there are some vapes that are just, whatever, alternative tobacco products, but she is in Colorado and her behavior was really interesting. What was in that vape, Lauren? And also, just like, clearly you can see this guy, she's got on this low cut, skin tight, sexy little number. And this guy is groping her every way come Sunday all over her boobs. You look up, all of a sudden her hand goes down around his thighs. It was one of those like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? There's an argument, I guess, to be made about people's personal lives and their lives, on the congressional floor. Two different things, but wow, it was almost entertaining, and certainly she came out with this whole, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. There's a film, she was caught on camera like giving the people at the theater, because of course they said, you got to go, we can't have all this in here, and she's giving them shooting them the bird. It was just really interesting to think, like, this is someone who is representing her state in DC. Like, wow, she's a bad girl, and I think she's proud of being a bad girl. You don't have to look far on Google to see images of her, in her little tight fitting jeans and tank tops, with a semi-automatic rifle, etc. Like, Lauren's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with her down the line. But on to more serious news, which is the looming government shutdown, Kevin McCarthy. And is this some sort of, deliberate machination to get rid of him? Because we know Matt Gaetz has been hooping and hollering. Notice, too, how MTG, old girl, is, all of a sudden quiet, when it came out that the impeachment of Biden, or the inquiry into impeaching Biden. Marjorie Taylor was just like, yes, I'm your girl. I told you I was going to get it done. And she and Kevin were like, I got Kevin's ear. He's going to do my bidding. Haven't heard a peep from her after this, with all the talk this week around the government shutdown. It's almost like she cuddles up when it's convenient and she kind of gets into the background when it's not. Kevin is in hot water. Let's take a look, you all. So, spirit first and foremost. Is the government going to go into shutdown? We got 9 more days, 8 more days. Are we in fact headed for a government shutdown? We have change and we have patience. That's interesting. That's oracles. I'll show it to you in a second. I want to go to tarot as well. Patience and change. Sounds like something could, there could be an 11th hour, some sort of resolution or an extension. I think the extension he was trying to get was only through the end of October. Didn't buy a lot of time, but some. We have the High Priestess, and we have the Lovers. This is a dance they are doing, you all. I love this deck, by the way. This is the Badass Tarot, and I want to show you those. That's the High Priestess and the Lovers card. This is really a dance, and there's change because I think ultimately there's people who, even on the more moderate right, not the far right, they're recognizing this is going to backfire on them with, because we understand with government shutdowns, workers get furloughed. People, this is going to cost people money. This goes beyond just the political triumph that they could have over him. And the Seven of Swords, which we know there's a lot of trickery, there's a lot of deceit. I think, is this McCarthy saying whatever, again, saying whatever, doing whatever, just to get this to go forward? It is. Okay. McCarthy recognizes that he is being seen for the liar that he is. He recognizes, there were I can't remember her name, but there was someone on CNN this morning who was talking about the fact that a Democrat out of Massachusetts woman who was talking about, listen, we had a deal in June that McCarthy signed off on that was going to get us through the long term. And now he's absolutely gone back on that because of this pressure from the far right. Is McCarthy on his way out, Spirit? Is this being done to basically force him out? Six of Wands. Yes, there is momentum to get him out of there, completely get him out of there. And the Six of Cups. Who is that? And the Eight of Pentacles. Six of Wands, Six of Cups, and Eight of Pentacles. There is a movement to do it, but I'm not so sure it's going to be successful. Not in the short term, anyway. I think somehow McCarthy is, there was the Nine of Cups. Yes, McCarthy is going to do whatever is necessary. And I think in the short term, that is going to mean he's going to have to really cozy up to the Dems to get this to happen, to keep the government open. But that's going to spur the people who, the Nine of Wands. Exactly. Woo! And I got to show that to you. Look at that. Okay, that's how that far right is going to be feeling. If this goes through and somehow, talk about a rabbit, and McCarthy manages to pull that rabbit out of a hat and do what he has to do to get just enough to squeak it through and keep the government open. This contingent of folks who want to get him out, they're going to double down even more. With that Six of Wands and that Six of Cups, they're going to double down even more to get him out of there. But I think somehow, some way, because that High Priestess is here for a reason. Somehow, and that's indicating something that has not been revealed to us. As we know, there are always machinations taking place that never become completely public, right? Or at least in the short term. We find out a lot of things after the fact. So that Seven of Swords, I know that this is him lying through his teeth to get anything he needs to hold on to power. You think about how many rounds did this man go through to get the speakership? And you have to wonder, why did you even want to do it when you knew this is not a Mitch McConnell kind of situation where you know that you are respected and you have support of people. Mitch McConnell is up there freezing, going through whatever, wishing him no harm at all. But we know that, his age is a factor. We know he's had some health troubles. And yet and still, the rank and file, everyone has just fallen in line and said, even Joe Biden, this is a guy that we have to respect, give him his due, let him do what he needs. There's the respect factor that McCarthy absolutely has none of. Absolutely has none of. But somehow, some way, Nine of Swords, he is stressed the you-know-what out. But there is something in him that just is determined to hold on to that title, hold on to that function at whatever price he has to pay. And so I think the bottom line for today's Think Tank Thursday, you all, I think the bottom line is somehow, some way, even if he has to cozy up to the Democrats, but somehow something's going to get worked out at the 11th hour. I do not think, I noticed the lack of major arcana in this reading. So I think this is a lot of tit for tat, a lot of petty almost stuff, although the stakes are high, people's jobs being furloughed, having the function of government, say what you will about it, whether it's too big, whether you're conservative or not, it serves a very vital function for us, normal, tax-paying citizens. And so I think there's going to be something that happens to bring it together. McCarthy losing his job, not going to happen right away. But the mounting pressure against him, that Nine of Swords, the mounting pressure, look at that, that's him with all that, the floodgates coming out. Like, the mounting pressure against him is not going to, these far right folk are rabid. They want power at any costs, and they don't see him as being reflective of that. They think he's weak. They think he's he's a puppet. And they knew that because of what he had to do to get the job. He sold himself to get the job. He told people whatever they needed to hear just to get the job. So that's what I got, you all. I think we're going to stay open, and I think McCarthy's going to buy some time, but I'm not so sure how long that time is going to last for him. They are gunning for him, all right? And meanwhile, we'll see what else. We'll see if Lauren Boebert can manage to keep her clothes on and act decent. We'll keep an eye on her all the time, all right? Take good care. Thank you always, and leave me your comments on this Think Tank Thursday. I'll see you real soon. But we know we got that second GOP debate coming up next week. Donald is doing Donald, and so he's going to be in Detroit. He's like, you know what? I don't even have to play with you all. I'm still so far ahead. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We'll definitely talk about that next week. I'll see you real soon. Bye.